Helen Keller once said, "Faith is the strength by which a shattered world would emerge into the light." Most people, when they think about faith, they think of it as a religious concept, something we discuss in church or something we see in inspirational quotes. But for me, faith was never just about a set of beliefs. For me, it was a powerful force, a guiding light that helped navigate me through the negative corners of my world. Let me take you back to a time when faith was just an abstract idea, something that I didn't understand. You see, growing up, I had this dark, almost prophetic feeling that I would die at 25. And it wasn't just like a passing worry. It was just everyday feeling that it would happen, and that was my reality. You see, growing up, I was a bubbly, ambitious student who I was blessed with a gift for math and science, which allowed me to jump from the 7th to the 9th grade in junior high school. But you see, I wasn't just about numbers and equations, and I love numbers, and I still love numbers today. But I loved playing double dutch, I loved to dance, but I also had a profound love for music. And I was able to play and learn the classical flute and play in the school band. I also sang in the gospel choir, and during our graduation, I was able to showcase all of my skills when it came to playing the flute, and I was so excited to sing in the gospel choir. And then afterwards, I actually, because of my skills, was able to attend and graduate from one of New York's prestigious specialized high schools, which is Brooklyn Tech, majoring in civil engineering. And on the outside, life seemed like I was living a dream. But on the inside, this feeling haunted me that I may not live past 25. I don't know where that came from. Maybe it could have been from living in the harsh reality of growing up in one of New York's toughest neighborhoods. I lived in East New York, where violence and drama and negativity seemed to be the norm. It could have also been maybe the turbulence of my family life that was shaped by my dad's struggle with alcoholism, which led to physical abuse and me witnessing from a young age him abusing my mom, which I can still vividly picture. Or maybe it could be from the constant teasing and bullying that I endured from neighborhood kids who were supposed to be my friends, and even family members who accused me of trying to be white because of how I spoke. But whatever the reason, I felt like I didn't matter, like my life wasn't important, that I was just a spectator in my own story. And during those times of really believing that I wouldn't be here past 25, I made some choices that maybe I shouldn't have. I dropped out of college. I just took any random job, and I figured if I was going to die, I was going to live and party like there was no tomorrow. I decided that I was just going to go out and party like a rock star and just have some fun. But then that became the moment of truth. An incident that would change my life forever, because this all happened in the year that I turned 25. My dad had just passed away, and my family had just returned home from the funeral. And so my then boyfriend suggested that we, take a weekend getaway so that way I can cope with the loss. I figured, you know what, why not? He was the constant source of support and comfort during my dad's illness. Plus, he was like the epitome of the American dream. I mean, he was Denzel Washington fine. I mean, he was gorgeous, gorgeous, and smart, well-dressed, right? And coming from a stable two-parent home, which is important, and he was also enrolled in school, you know, the perfect picture of success and ambition. And I thought, here he is. He came into my life to save me from all the bullying that I endured from on a regular basis. You know, like you read in fairy tales that dashing prince comes to save the beautiful, distressed princess. But little did I know that seemingly innocent trip would spiral into one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. On our way back to New York City, as we crossed from Virginia to Washington, D.C., all of a sudden we heard like a whoop whoop. These sirens were blaring. And we were confused. We stopped, like, where are they going in such a hurry? So we did what most people did. We stopped. We slowed down so they can pass. But as the sirens grew louder and the lights flashed brighter, we realized they were coming for us. In a heartbeat, we were surrounded by 6 state patrol officers, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 1 on each side, screaming, "Put your hands on the dashboard. Open the door." My heart pounded. I'm thinking, is this the dark premonition that I thought about? I'm 25. Is this how it's going to happen? I looked at my boyfriend for an answer. I'm like, what is going on? Before I can actually wrap my mind around what was going on, they pulled us from the car, separated us, and handcuffed us as though we were characters in a crime drama. I kept thinking, is this real? Am I being punked? I was drastically waiting for a director to yell, "Cut, end scene." But no. This was really happening. I was led to the hard back seat of a squad car on I-95, headed to a police station in Washington, D.C., where I was shocked to learn that my beautiful, handsome, gorgeous boyfriend was on a watch list for purchasing guns, and they had followed us from Virginia for suspected gun trafficking. I was especially shocked because I'm thinking, if any of you in this audience met him, you would think he was the last person to ever be involved in anything criminal. But as I sat in that cold, quiet Washington holding cell, I kept thinking, terrified, like, am I about to serve a life sentence for gun trafficking? Who was this person that I was with? Why was this even happening? Eventually, he confessed and said, I didn't know what was going on. And then I was released. But then I thought, how am I going to get back home to New York? They took all of my money, my clothes, everything. And so in that moment, I was grateful for my mom and for this large family that I have in D.C. because someone was able to pay my way back on the Greyhound bus. And so I went from this ordeal from the I-95 by myself to this holding cell, and now alone again on this 4-hour drive back home to New York by myself. And I kept thinking, am I in a bad dream? Am I going to wake up in my own bed with the sounds of music playing? How did I get here? I kept trying to retrace my steps to figure out what had happened. And in that moment, I came with a new resolve. I was like, I'm going to take control of my destiny. I realized in that moment that faith was always holding my hand, was always with me, like guiding me throughout this whole negative experience. That experience was a wake-up call. I went back to college. I graduated with a degree in accounting, started a career in one of the top global Big Four CPA firms, which led to other opportunities to work for Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies. In this moment, I realized faith wasn't just about the power of a higher power, belief in a higher power. It was actually about the trust in the process of life itself. This was my moment of transformation. I was like, if faith can do that for me, if faith can take me from the unknown, a path that my life should have ended differently. It wasn't up to me. That was faith that got me out of the holding cell, that got me back into college. My whole life changed. And if it can happen for me, faith can do the same thing for you. It can help you find meaning to your struggles on your journey. In that moment, I realized I needed to do a different path. I became a speaker and a coach, dedicated to helping other people figure out their own traumas to triumph. I was on a mission to create safe spaces for people to feel seen and heard and valued, knowing that they mattered. My journey from that cell to success was more than just a personal victory. It led me to believe that in those moments, it wasn't an end, but an opportunity for a brighter tomorrow. And then we all will go through life difficulties and find ourselves in situations that may be challenging. When we do, I want you to ask yourself some questions. What can I learn from this experience? How can I use this challenge as a stepping stone for a brighter tomorrow? And what does faith mean to me in this moment? You know, there are times when I question, what if my dad didn't pass away? I was only on that trip, on that highway, in that holding cell, because my dad passed away. Would I still be here standing in front of you? Would I even gone back to college? Those are things that people struggle with on a regular basis. But with faith, it's about actively believing in a brighter future. And now looking back on that fateful day on I-95, I realized it wasn't just a random twist of fate. It was a profound moment of clarity. I realized what faith is all about. It was faith in believing in my innocence, in my own strength, and the possibility of a brighter future. But you know what? I guess you could say that I did die. I died to my old way of thinking and being. That version of me had to die so I can embrace the life that was calling me, so I can stand here today in front of all of you. I really hope that my 25-year-old will be proud of the person that I am today. And I hope that you too can find a path that you can be proud of regarding your own growth and transformation on your journey. Because after all, that's what faith is all about. So embrace your journey. Believe in yourself and your own process. And trust that faith will light the way. Thank you.